I'll defend him. Heads turn, phones lift. Whispers ripple through the courtroom. From the back row stands a young black woman, cafe apron still tied, sneakers dusted with flour. Kira Brooks. Someone scoffs, "Who let the barista in?" Another laughs. Janitor's next. Kira doesn't flinch. She clutches a worn folder and walks straight to the defense table, past stunned guards. Garrett Stone, tech mogul, fraud defendant, glares. "You're kidding. Go mop something." "Your Honor," she says, calm and steady. "I request to appear as temporary counsel." "Are you licensed in New York?" the judge asks. "No, sir. 2 years at Columbia Law, left for family debt. But I've studied every document in this case." The prosecutor objects. "This is a circus." Judge turns to Garrett. "Do you accept her assistance?" He sighs. "Fine, let the waitress try." Kira opens her folder. Notes, tabs, ledgers, all hand-marked. She clears her throat. "Let's begin with the March 12 addendum." The room goes quiet. No one's laughing now. In the gallery, a student lowers his phone. "She might actually pull this off," he whispers. Kira doesn't react. She's too focused. On March 12th, Altera sent a signed addendum from a Zurich IP at 2:14 a.m. EST. But Mr. Stone was on stage in Austin at that exact time. Dana Reed stiffens. Kira hands the judge a printout. Cell tower data confirms it. His signature was forged. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Garrett's glare fades. Even the bailiff coughs in surprise. Judge Orr peers over his glasses. "Ms. Reed?" She adjusts her cuff. "We request time to validate this theory," Kira corrects her. "Facts, counselor." The judge nods. "Court will recess at 10. Ms. Brooks may proceed." Kira breathes in. 3 years of mopping floors and late-night study now breaking through. She speaks to the room without turning. "If truth deserves a voice, keep your cameras rolling. Sunshine never hurt an honest man. Outside, sirens wail. Inside, no one laughs." In the hallway, Kira waits by a column as Garrett signs the log. Reporters gather, unsure if she's a rising star or tomorrow's punchline. Garrett drags her into a side alcove. "You bought yourself 15 minutes of fame," he says, voice low and sharp. "After that, they'll eat you alive." "I'm not here for fame," she answers. "I'm here because someone forged your name and tried to hang you with it. That should matter to you more than my apron." Garrett studies her, searching for irony. "Why do you care?" "Because forgery is theft," she says. "And theft looks the same whether it's $20 from a register or 20 million off a balance sheet." He scoffs but doesn't turn away. "My legal team costs 7 figures. You cost what, $10 an hour?" 14, plus tips, she corrects. "And if I pull this off, you'll owe the best tip of your life." Before he can reply, Dana Reed strides past, heels clicking like a metronome. "Hope you brought more than kitchen anecdotes," she calls out. "The real show starts after lunch." Kira offers a polite smile. "I'll save you a front row seat, counselor." Back inside the courtroom, Judge Orr returns with a fresh mug of coffee and a half smile that suggests curiosity has beaten skepticism. "Proceed, Ms. Brooks." Kira flips to a second tabbed section. "Your Honor, Exhibit B is a chain of internal expense reports from Altera Capital. They show first-class travel to Zurich for a contractor named Paul Kramer 3 days before the fraudulent signature. Mr. Kramer's initials appear in the document metadata." Dana rises. "Irrelevant. The contractor was never employed by my client." "True," Kira says. "He was employed by yours." She turns the screen so the gallery can see a payroll ledger stamped altera.hr. Dana's objection stalls on her tongue. Garrett Stone leans forward, curiosity overtaking disdain. The gallery shifts, murmurs rippling like wind through paper. Judge Orr taps his pen. "Counselor Reed, we'll hear your rebuttal after the recess." Then to Kira, "You may step back for now." Court adjourns until 2. Kira gathers her folder, pulse hammering, adrenaline fading into a tremor she refuses to show. As she exits, a teenage court aide offers an awkward thumbs up. She nods, grateful. Down on Center Street, rain starts to spit. She finds the subway entrance, rides the line across town, and surfaces in front of a gleaming glass tower, the Stone residence. Her shift as household staff technically began 30 minutes ago. In the service elevator, she swaps blazer for cardigan, tucks the folder into a canvas tote, and ties on a fresh apron. The contrast hits her like vertigo. Minutes ago, she cited federal case law. Now she's wiping granite counters in a penthouse kitchen that smells of rosemary and money. But study time is study time. Between polishing induction burners and arranging hors d'oeuvres, she props open a well-thumbed copy of Federal Rules of Evidence behind the spice rack, tracing highlights while risotto simmers. At 5:30 sharp, Garrett walks in, Bluetooth still in his ear. He startles at the sight of her. "You're still on payroll here?" "Cleaning pays better than courtroom applause," she says, keeping her eyes on the stovetop. He slips off the headset. "You made them blink today? I didn't think that was possible." "Tomorrow we make them flinch." She stirs the pot once, twice. "But you have to trust me." Garrett hesitates. "I trust data. I trust leverage." "Good," she says, "because tomorrow I'm bringing both." His phone buzzes. He glances at the screen, frowns, and leaves without another word. The door closes on a silence thick with unasked questions. At 9, Kira finishes dishes, signs out, and catches the late train back to Newark. Her basement apartment smells of detergent and cold coffee. She kicks off shoes, spreads documents across the battered Formica table, and dives into bank transfer logs until numbers blur. Near midnight, her phone rings, blocked number. "Brooks?" A gravelly voice. "Your little performance ends now. Fold or get folded." She steadies her breathing. "Funny. The last person who threatened me had better diction." A click, a deadline. She lets the phone drop, heart punching ribs. Fear is familiar. She files it beside exhaustion and keeps reading. At 2 a.m., she finally closes the folder. Tomorrow, she'll walk back into that courtroom, not as a maid borrowing courage, but as a woman who's out-researched an empire. And if Altera's architects intend to bury evidence under marble and money, they'd better bring a deeper shovel. The clerk bangs a gavel at 9:30 sharp. Kira walks back into the courtroom wearing the same thrift store blazer she pressed the night before, but something's different. Half the gallery now leans forward instead of back. The circus is becoming a contest. Judge Orr glances over the new files stacked at his elbow. "Ms. Brooks, you may proceed with your supplemental presentation." She connects her laptop to the evidence screen. Slide 1. An expense ledger from Altera's Zurich office. Red boxes around 3 wire transfers marked Consultant Services. Slide 2. A TSA record proving Garrett Stone never left U.S. soil that week. Slide 3. A metadata capture highlighting the initials PK. Paul Kramer inside the forged addendum. Dana Reed objects, calling the documents unverified. Kira is ready with a notarized chain of custody affidavit she filed at dawn. The judge sighs, overrules, and schedules a full evidentiary hearing for Friday. Recess again, 2 days to breathe, 2 days to dig. Outside, rain needles the courthouse steps. Garrett falls into stride beside her, umbrella forgotten. "That forged signature is the first good news I've had in months," he admits. "But forged by whom?" "Find the ghostwriter and we pull the whole thread," Kira says. "I'll start with the contractor payroll." "Need a car, security?" he offers. "I need truth," she answers, and heads for the subway. Midtown, 11th floor co-working loft. The fire door lock gives under a credit card. Nobody paid the rent this month. Inside, Paul Kramer's desk looks abandoned mid-panic. Drawers yanked, coffee still a dark ring on the blotter. Kira photographs everything, then spots a manila folder half flattened under a fallen monitor. Inside, 3 near-identical contract drafts, same Zurich timestamp, but 2 list entirely different IP addresses. One Jersey City, one Frankfurt. Her pulse snaps to double time. A floorboard creaks behind her. She spins. Empty corridor. She backs out, locks the door, and calls the only reporter she trusts, Nico Harper, a former classmate who now chases corporate crime for an independent news blog. "Nico, I just found smoking gun paper on the Kramer angle. Can you cross-match these IPs?" "You mean right now?" he says, voice low, newsroom chaos in the background. "Text them. I'll ping a source at an EU telecom." Kira texts the photos, then ducks into a deli for weak coffee and stronger Wi-Fi. 10 minutes later, Nico replies. Frankfurt address routes through a VPN leased by a shell company. Owner record, Altera Capital Legal Ops. Kira exhales, shoulders nodding with equal parts dread and satisfaction. Someone at Altera was laundering electronic footprints, and Kramer was their hands-on scribe. Back home in Newark, she tapes copies of every new document to her wall like puzzle pieces. Arrows in Sharpie connect Zurich, Frankfurt, Jersey City. At the center, she writes 2 words, pressure plan. Her phone lights up, block number again. You're digging your own grave, Brooks. Male, calm, East Coast drawl. Close the file. She switches on speaker and records. Funny. Was that the same advice you gave Paul Kramer before he vanished? Silence, then a click. She forwards the recording to Nico with the caption keep multiple backups and straightens the line of papers on the wall. Midnight bleeds into 2 a.m. She's still working when her younger brother Malik creeps from the bedroom, rubbing sleep from his eyes. Why's the light on? He whispers. Homework, Kira says, guiding him back to bed. Big test Friday. Kira watches her son sleep, thinking of every shift that kept them afloat. Fear once told her to stay silent. Now it tells her to press on. She highlights Frankfurt in her notes. Friday's hearing is 72 hours away. If Altera wants quiet, they chose the wrong maid to threaten. At dawn, a marshal delivers subpoenas for Altera's shell companies and Marcus Lang himself. You just poked a billionaire hornet's nest, he warns. Kira signs and catches the 7:04 train to Manhattan. At court, she files for Altera's VPN logs. Dana Reed appears. By Friday, you'll drown in reasonable doubt, she sneers. Kira slides her a Frankfurt shell contract, already EU stamped. Dana's smile fades. By noon, Kira meets Nico in a Queens diner. He hands her a flash drive, Zurich lobby footage. Lang passes Kramer an envelope. The date matches the first payment. Anger burns. Someone gambled with a man's freedom, assuming no one in an apron would notice. Subpoena updates roll in. Most shell addresses are empty, but Lang's receptionist accepts service, stunned. At home, Kira finds her apartment tossed, binder missing, but backup photos safe in the cloud. Then, a no-caller ID voice. Lose the drive, or the next knock won't be a warning. She replies calmly. You just threatened a federal witness. You're on tape. She forwards the call to Nico, Garrett, and the U.S. attorney. File labeled, Intimidation, Attempt 02.wev. At midnight, Garrett's car arrives unannounced. They hit my condo too, he says. Missed the off-site archive. Lang's scared. Kira nods, shows him the Zurich footage. Garrett hands her a keycard. Private storage, last place Paul Kramer visited before he vanished. Sunrise finds them in a nondescript warehouse district. The keycard grants access to locker 4119. Inside sits a sealed manila envelope, stamped with a crimson L. Kira slices the flap with a nail file. Out slides a USB drive plus a folded memo on Altera letterhead. The memo's title steals her breath. Strategic Pressure Pathway, Stone Acquisition. Bullet points outline forged signature tactics, VPN rerouting, and a projected lawsuit windfall of $23 million. Garrett leans against a concrete wall, suddenly weightless. They budgeted my ruin. Kira pockets the drive. And they just funded your counterclaim. She scans the memo into her phone, then locks the originals back in the envelope. Chain of custody intact, she notes aloud, turning on the camera to record a time-stamped walkthrough of the locker. Outside, a cold wind whips off the river. Garrett stares at the skyline. Friday's hearing. Will this be enough? It opens the door, Kira says, but tomorrow, we kick it off the hinges. They part ways under gray dawn. Kira heads home, backups the memo to 3 encrypted clouds, and tucks the USB inside a hollowed law dictionary in her freezer. She sleeps for 90 minutes, wakes to Malik's text, safe at Jamal's, and brews coffee strong enough to peel paint. As the first cup cools, her phone pings with an unknown video link. She hesitates, then plays it. 20 silent seconds of her walking into the warehouse, time-stamped an hour ago. The message underneath reads, "We're still watching." Kira exhales, steady and slow. She forwards the clip to the marshal's office, deletes nothing, and opens her laptop. Friday is 18 hours away. The screws are turning, but the threads are starting to strip. And when they snap, Marcus Lang's empire will fall with them. Friday dawns silver and raw. Kira rides the path into Manhattan clutching a hard-shell evidence case that cost yesterday's entire paycheck. Inside are 2 encrypted drives, 3 printed affidavits, and the original crimson-stamped memo sealed in a clear folder marked Chain of Custody. Do not tamper. Security lines snake around the courthouse. Reporters jostle for a glimpse of Garrett Stone, who arrives flanked by sober-faced bodyguards. He spots Kira at the magnetometer and gives the faintest nod. Deference, not pity. Progress. Court convenes at 10. Judge Orr looks older under the fluorescence, as though the case has aged everyone a decade in a week. Dana Reed sits rigid, but a new figure shares her table. Marcus Lang himself. Gray suit immaculate, expression varnished blank. His presence short-circuits the gallery's buzz. The puppet master has stepped onto the stage. Kira calls her first witness, Nico Harper. The indie reporter testifies to IP traces and VPN leases, his language trimmed to courtroom tightness. Dana objects to hearsay tech forensics. Nico counters with certified telecom records. The judge overrules. Lang scribbles something, jaw grinding behind a neutral smile. Next comes Deputy Marshal Rains, who recounts 2 intimidation reports filed by Kira, both timed within hours of key evidence discoveries. Reed tries to paint the calls as prank spam. Rains answers by playing the threat recordings over the courtroom speakers. The disembodied voices echo, dripping malice. Lang's pen stills. Kira breathes through adrenaline and steps to the lectern. Your Honor, defense moves to admit Exhibit F, strategic pressure pathway, Stone acquisition. She holds up the crimson-stamped memo inside its plastic sleeve. Gasps scatter like shattered glass. Even courtroom veterans lean forward. Dana rises, voice tight. Objection. Document origin unverified. Kira is ready. Chain of custody begins at Locker 419, Jersey City Secure Storage, keyed to Mr. Stone's corporate account. Surveillance footage confirms no access for 8 weeks prior. Time-stamped video is on the record. She cues the screen. Grainy footage of Kira and Garrett opening the locker. Date overlay unbroken. Judge Orr reviews the sleeve, checks the seal, then nods once to the clerk. Exhibit F is admitted. Kira reads aloud. Page 3, Bullet 2. Forged signature via Zurich VPN. Initiate civil action. Leverage, $23.4 million signed by Marcus Lang. The courtroom stirs. Lang rises. Your Honor, that memo was never executed. It was, Kira says, showing the forged addendum alongside the memo. Identical down to punctuation. The jury leans in. Lang pales. Judge Orr offers him a chance to testify. Lang hesitates. Kira moves in. We submit a sworn statement from Paul Kramer, she says, holding an envelope. He confirms Lang ordered the forgery, names shell companies, and includes original source files. Dana protests. Ambush. It's dated 2 weeks ago. Delay was due to protective transfer. Delivery notarized this morning. Judge Orr reviews the documents. 1 hour recess to examine exhibits F and G. Counsel. Stay close. In the hallway, cameras flash. Lang stops Kira. You don't know what you're provoking. She meets his eyes. I know exactly what I'm fighting. Men who think silence is for sale. 45 minutes later, Garrett finds her in a witness room, staring at the ceiling. If this goes to trial, Altera's stock crashes by Monday, he says. It already is, Kira says, checking her phone. Altera's stock is down 18%. Truth adjusts market value. A bailiff knocks. Court back in session. She steadies herself. This isn't the finish line, it's liftoff. Judge Orr returns, cheeks flushed. Having reviewed exhibits F and G, the court finds evidence of fraud and intimidation. The civil case is dismissed with prejudice. Materials referred for criminal review. His gavel hits. The room erupts. Dana slumps. Lang freezes. Garrett exhales. Kira feels nothing yet. Adrenaline delays everything. Outside, reporters swarm. Will you join Mr. Stone's legal team? Countersuit coming? How does it feel to win? She holds up the sealed case. Ask me after the feds are done. This isn't my win. It's accountability. Garrett's handler offers her a statement. She pockets it. Garrett warns, Lang's lawyers will offer hush money. Covering up won't clean it, she says. We burn nothing, bury nothing. You rebuild the company you promised. He nods and walks off. Kira heads for the subway alone, the evidence case still cuffed to her wrist, safer than any vault. By late afternoon, Altera's stock is in freefall, trading frozen twice for volatility. Financial news tickers call it the fastest value plunge since Enron. Inside a borrowed war room at a non-profit legal clinic, Kira, Nico Harper, and two pro bono attorneys outline next steps on a whiteboard. DOJ referral, monitor. Counterclaim, fraud, defamation, malicious prosecution. Witness protection requests for Nico, Kramer, and Kira's family. Nico's phone pings, a push alert, Marcus Lang resigns, effective immediately. Kira circles the headline. Resignation is not absolution. A paralegal rushes in. Lang's team filed an emergency TRO to seal the pressure pathway memo, claiming trade secrets. Kira sighs. Of course. File opposition tonight. First Amendment and crime fraud exception. Near midnight in Newark, she finds her door ajar. Lock untouched, chain snapped. Files tossed, flash drive gone. A note taped inside. Evidence disappears. Heroes fade. She calls 911, then Marshal Raines. We can relocate you by morning, he offers. I'm not hiding, she says. Let them see me. If they move in shadow, I'll be the spotlight. Raines nods. Publicity as body armor. Unconventional, but smart. 6 hours later, Kira stands at a press podium. Garrett beside her, Nico live streaming. She details the break-in. Behind her, Lang's TRO scrolls. Corporate secrecy ends where crime begins, she says. If Altera thinks truth is proprietary, let them explain that to a jury. Asked if she regrets stepping up, Kira replies, regret implies doubt. I have none. In the crowd, Malik watches. She nods. Fear fades. Purpose sharpens. That night she drafts the countersuit. Tomorrow, more filings. If Lang comes again, he'll find her waiting, with light and proof. Monday, 8 a.m., Southern District of New York. Protesters wave cardboard brooms. Kira sits beside pro bono attorney Maya Chang. Across the aisle, Lang looks worn down. Judge Torres opens. Mr. Lang wants to seal documents tied to fraud. Ms. Brooks, you oppose? Kira stands. Yes, Your Honor. Crime is not a trade secret. The memo's been downloaded 17,000 times. She cites Argento v. SEC, then plays news clips dissecting the memo. Any secrecy died when Altera tried to weaponize the courts. Lang's side argues harm. Kira counters with whistleblower testimony. Paul Kramer, now under federal protection, confirms Lang ordered the memo destroyed. Judge Torres rules. Motion denied, appeal if you like, but that horse left the barn. A marshal cuffs Lang, cameras explode. The charges, obstruction and conspiracy. Lang meets Kira's eyes and blinks first. By noon, the DOJ files 23 counts. Altera suspends its leadership. The stock crashes. Online, Yower Broom Brigade goes viral. That afternoon, Kira files the countersuit, 150 million plus punitive damages. She adds a whistleblower claim for herself and Paul. Maya smiles. You turned defense into offense. That night, Kira texts Malik, pizza on me. He replies with a selfie. Mock trial medals won using her arguments. At home, she finds a flash drive with footage of Lang handing off an envelope. She copies it and sends it to the DOJ. Nico calls. You went from Maid to Rico witness in 10 days. Lang gave us stripes, Kira says. I just traced them. A year later, the People's Advocacy Center is thriving. The map on the wall marks 73 protected whistleblowers. Garrett Stone donated the building. Half funds pro bono work. Half funds a law scholarship in Kira's mother's name. Malik teaches in back. Kira's phone buzzes. Altera's CEO pleads guilty. She forwards the news to Kramer and Nico. A janitor enters. Ms. Brooks, I found this. Numbers don't match. He hands her a flash drive. Tell me everything, she says. The work is heavy. The map keeps growing. And in the lobby, a gold broom signed by every client reminds them why silence is never safe. Kira locks the evidence drawer and pauses at the mural. Her silhouette, apron strings flying, under the words, she didn't need permission. Outside, Harlem hums. Somewhere, another voice is choosing whether to speak. When they do, the door will be open, the coffee hot, and the broom ready. Subscribe for more stories where truth finds its voice.